Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Candy Ashdown, and I'm honored to serve as chair of the Langley Board of Education. Before we begin, I would like to invite Deanna Miller and Carlin Andres, members of Katzie First Nation and Aboriginal support workers in the Langley School District, to welcome us.
We did. I'm glad I moved. Soil, Asiam, Iktanasia, Iktanasialaqua, Iktanasia Wenash, Wanano Aitanashqualoan, Quans Equatsnala Tanawail, Antha Carlin Andres, Talitanask Aitzi, Deanna Miller, Thana 10, Taliat Aitzi.
Amit Zapquitwilam, Tanatamoch, Shkatiash, E. Tanatamoch, Shquantlanash, Shmethwiash, E. Samyamat Masteo, Heitzapka.
Eats and Sat Titlam, Heichgasiam, Taliat Stateless.
Thank you, Deanna and Carlin, for starting us off in a good way and sharing your beautiful words, singing, and drumming. As chair of the Langley Board of Education, I'm truly honored to be with you all here today to mark a milestone in the Langley School District. But first, I would like to acknowledge the many special guests who have joined us here today. We are pleased to welcome the Honorable Premier David Eby, the Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Bowinn Ma, the Honorable Minister of Education and Childcare, Lisa Beare, the Mayor of the Township of Langley, Eric Woodward, and Ari Mountain secondary student, Areen Waraj. Also from the Langley School District Board Office, I would like to welcome Mal Gill, Superintendent of Schools, Brian Isley, Secretary Treasurer. I believe I saw Jen Piper from our Langley DPAC. Also, I just happened to see MLA Jody Tour, so welcome. From the Township of Langley, we're joined by Councillor Barb Martins, Councillor Steve Ferguson, Councillor Michael Pratt, Councillor Tim Bailey, and Councillor Rob Brent.
Councillor Whitmarsh is here as well.
Oh, and Councillor Whitmarsh. Okay, thank you. And newly elected Councillor Whitmarsh. Welcome. Thank you. We appreciate all of you for being here to join us for this celebration. And now it is my great honor to invite the Honorable David Eby, Premier David Eby, to the podium.
Thanks very much, Candy. It's a beautiful day in Langley Township. Ignore all the evidence to the contrary. We are announcing an amazing new facility here in Langley Township. And so it doesn't matter what the weather's doing. This is a good news day for the residents of Langley Township. As we were driving in, I could see all of the family-friendly townhouse developments. We're not too far from the Langley Event Center. The Costco is not far away. That's the place where you buy the food your kids like in bulk right before they decide that they don't like it anymore. There's everything that families need here in the community, but it's also a fast growing community. Langley Township is growing incredibly quickly. And with it, the population of families who need services and the buildings where those services will be provided, which brings us to today's important announcement. Behind me, you can see what looks like a muddy pit right now, but soon it will be 2,800 student spaces at two beautiful new schools to support this growing community. These two schools will serve as community centers and hubs, in addition to places for kids to learn and play and have a lot of fun. These will be community institutions for generations to come. And the thing that I really like about this project is that we're building two schools at the same time on the same site. And I want to thank our partners at Langley Township, Mayor and Council. Mayor Woodward is here joining us today, as well as the school board, for working with our Ministry of Infrastructure to find ways that we can build more, faster, and more efficiently. The province is facing financial strains. There's no question about it. But we can't stop building what growing communities need and investing in our future. And there's no better example of that than schools. So to have strong community partners that help us deliver these services in these buildings in more cost-effective ways is more important than ever, because we can't stop building. So congratulations, Langley Township. We're so excited about your new schools. I can't wait for kids to start attending here. It's going to be quite a remarkable place and quite a remarkable township. So thanks for having us here. Thank you to everyone who was involved in making this happen. Thank you, Minister Beare, Minister Ma, and your teams, and all of the local people here who made it happen. And MLA Tour, it's good to see you here today. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Premier Eby. And now I'd like to call upon the Honourable Minister Bowinn Ma to give remarks.
Oh, it is a good day. It's really good to see my colleague, MLA Jody Tour here, as well as my colleague, Paul Choi, who has joined us from Burnaby. I would also be remiss if I did not acknowledge our former colleagues, Megan Dykeman and Andrew Mercier, without whose stalwart advocacy we would not be here announcing this project today. It is an exciting day. In fact, earlier today, we celebrated the announcement that a brand new elementary school is moving forward in New Westminster. And here we are celebrating the start of construction of the new Smith Middle and Secondary School campus, the first ever joint school campus in the Lower Mainland and the single largest capital investment in education in BC history. Yes. Building these two schools together is an efficient way to help us keep pace with Langley's rapid growth. It makes the most of the township's new athletic center, thank you so much, Mayor, and new athletic fields and centers, and creates a vibrant community hub where students and families can connect. As the Premier already noted, together these two new schools will provide 2,800 additional seats for Langley families right here in Willoughby, a major generational investment in the future of this community. Smith Middle School will welcome about 900 students, and Smith Secondary School will open with space for 1,900 more students. And with these schools open in fall 2027, they will be more than just new buildings. They will be places where our children can grow, learn, and feel part of the community. We know that Langley has been growing at a really rapid pace. In fact, the Willoughby area alone has grown by over 25% in the past 15 years, and it is not hard to see why. It is a bustling community with welcoming streets, beautiful parks, lots of amenities. The people of Langley have so much to be proud of, and we as our government are working with our partners at the school district and the township to ensure that we're continuing to build the schools that allow this community to thrive. Since 2017, we have invested almost $600 million in Langley schools, creating nearly 5,000 new student seats and over 1,500 seismically safe seats. And we're working hard to continue this progress. We know that there is more work to do here and across the province, and we're working to build as efficiently as possible. This is an exciting new project, first of its kind in the Lower Mainland, and it is not possible without all of our partners. So congratulations to everyone here who has made this an incredible success so far. We look forward to continued successes and to be back for opening day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Minister Ma. Next, I invite the Honourable Minister Lisa Beare to offer a few words.
Thank you so much, Candy. And I want to thank Minister Ma and Premier Eby for being such amazing and inspiring advocates to continue to build brand new facilities like this all across the province. You know, these facilities are safe, modern, new learning spaces for our kids. And not only that, they're community hubs, as we can see with a campus-like environment here at this project. You know, we want schools to be that community hub. We want them to be the place that families know their kids can grow, they can learn, they can play, which is why it's so important that in not only in just building the spaces, we make sure that inside the spaces are safe and welcoming as well, which is why we made changes so that schools can now offer childcare on school grounds and in schools, which is why we continue to update our curriculum, making sure kids are safe, whether it be providing AEDs and naloxone in schools or modern learning tools. You know, we're going to continue to invest in our kids, not only in the spaces, but also inside the classrooms and in their early years as well. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Candy, for you and your district mayor for being such great partners in this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Beare. At this time, we will hear from Township of Langley Mayor Eric Woodward. Sorry, it's so cold. I'm having a hard time talking.
You're doing great.
No, thanks, Candy. Appreciate it. And it's hard to express the community's gratitude for an investment like this, as ambitious and as amazing as it's going to be. So on behalf of the community, the Township Council and Township staff, I want to thank the Premier, Minister Ma, and Minister Beare for this incredible investment. It doesn't go unnoticed, and we really appreciate it. And following through with the ambition we've seen announced a few years ago and followed through here today is to have the Township of Langley Council and plans for recreation step up to match it. So with 2,900 students here at this location, Council really this term stepped up to deliver Smith Athletic Park just adjacent to this. The combined 35-acre youth education and sports campus that will rival the Langley Event Center, its ambition. And to have one of these in our community is amazing, but to have two is incredible. And it really speaks to the partnership that the school district and the township have had that goes back two to 3 decades, continuing on and getting better and better as the years grow, as years ahead, as we deal with a significant growth rate here in the township and one of the highest, if not the highest, per capita student populations in all of British Columbia. And the growth rate that we're challenged in dealing with infrastructure and youth sports and so many things means that we have to continue to build and invest in our communities, just as the government is doing for the province of British Columbia. It's really important and really incredible for us to be a part of seeing this put together here in the next few years. And again, really deeply appreciate the partnership, really deeply appreciate the investment, and I really deeply appreciate the opportunity that this is going to have for so many youth in our community for so many years ahead, for so many people that helped put this together, from former Chair Megan Dykeman to former Chair Rod Ross as well, who was part of acquiring this site. So many people over so many years had a hand in putting this together. You know who you are. We all deeply appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Woodward. And now I'm delighted to invite Irene Warach, a grade 10 student at RE Mountain Secondary, to speak.
Thank you, Chair Candy, for welcoming me. I'm a pre-IB student who's part of the debate, swim, and leadership team at my school. So whether I'm in the pool, on stage debating, or, helping out with a school activity, I'm always ready to take opportunities and grow. I'm Irene Warach, a grade 10 student at RE Mountain Secondary. I started off at Richard Bulpit Elementary, then I moved to Yorkshire Creek Middle School, and now I'm proud to say that I'm an RE Mountain Eagle. I guess you could say I've done the full Langley School tour. I've loved everything about my school career so far, and I especially love being a part of the RE Mountain community. As a member of the debate, swim, and leadership team, and the pre-IB program, I get to be creative, and I get to learn many collaborative and communication skills, and I get to have fun with my team members and classmates. I love how all the extracurricular activities at RE Mountain allow me the opportunity to truly be who I am. That's what's so great about our school. There's so many great opportunities to choose from, whether it be academics, whether it be sports, or whether it be fine arts, so many ways for students to express who they are and who they want to be. Even though our school is really big, with almost 2,600 students, you'll still feel connected to everyone. The staff, students, and teachers do a great job of making sure everyone is safe and everyone has a good learning experience. And I know that our school is continuing to grow, and that's why we're here today, to celebrate the construction of the new middle and secondary school in our community. Some students who are currently attending my school, possibly even me, will be moving to this new building. For me, this is extremely exciting, and it also means I'll have to find a couple new hallway shortcuts, but we'll figure that out. I hope that at this new school, students like me will have the safe, positive learning experiences, school culture, and community that we currently have at RE Mountain Secondary. I'm grateful to be able to share what my school means to me and to talk about my experiences. I look forward to seeing the new school once it's built, and who knows, maybe I'll get to share these experiences with you guys again. Thank you to the province and the school district for making this investment in our schools and supporting learning for people like me and generations to come.
Thank you, Irene. It's so meaningful to hear from students about their experiences in our schools. You and the more than 26,000 students are the reasons for us to do the work we do each day, to support you and our incoming students. As we've heard today, the Langley School District continues to be one of the fastest growing school districts in the province. Our district started the school year with increased enrollment, while other districts were declining. We have grown by nearly 700 students across the district, and many of them are attending schools right here in the Willoughby Slope. We know that families continue to move to Langley, and we recognize that teachers and staff continue to choose to work in Langley. And that is why these two new schools, beginning behind us, are so important in meeting the enrollment demands now and in the future. These two schools will continue to help us in our mission to inspire all learners to reach their full potential and leave a positive legacy for the future. The campus will ensure that students have a safe place to learn, feel a sense of belonging, and be part of a caring and compassionate community. On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to express our sincere gratitude to our provincial partners, the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Ministry of Education and Childcare, as well as the Township of Langley, for working together with us to make this project a reality. I'm proud to be part of the Langley Schools community, and I look forward to everything we will continue to accomplish together for our students. Thank you again for being here and celebrating this milestone with us.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here today at the sites of future Smith Secondary and Smith Middle School. We're going to take some questions from the media now. We have reporters on the line and a few here in person braving the elements. So we're going to start in person here. We have a mic set up. Please set your name and outlet, and you'll have one question and one follow-up. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I'm Matthew Claxton from the Langley Advance Times. I had a question for the Premier from Black Press on behalf of mostly the Surrey Now. But we're wondering, after there was another extortion-related shooting in Surrey this morning at the same target that was hit a couple of weeks ago, what is the provincial government doing to protect the people who are the targets of these repeated attacks?
Thanks very much. The Public Safety Minister, Nina Krieger, and I had a confidential briefing last night from the heads of the task force that are working on this extortion file. I know that there is a huge level of anxiety in communities south of the Fraser around this. The brazen nature of these shootings, the desperate need for accountability and for action to ensure safety for all members of the community is crucial. We were provided with an update on the investigation and the team. What I can share with you about the briefing is that I certainly recognize that an impressive amount of work is happening right now, and that there is a need for the task force to do a better job to communicate to the community about what they're working on, the people and technology that they're bringing to bear on this, and reassure people about that this is being taken seriously. The crucial information that the community needs is what is happening, what steps are being taken. Is this a priority? And I can assure people that for the provincial government, this is a key priority for us, because these attacks cut at something that is fundamental to our communities, which is a sense of safety, the ability to do business, the ability to feel comfortable in your own home. And so for those reasons, we will ensure that all resources are available. I canvassed with the leaders of the task force whether there were additional resources or approaches that could be provided. Our team is ready to ensure that those resources and any additional changes or information that they need is made quickly available. I am hopeful that we'll see a renewed spirit of community engagement from the task force to share with the community the work they're doing. I'm glad to see that the involvement of Canadian Border Services in the task force has led to the deportation of people who are involved in this activity, and we're looking for more.
And a follow-up?
Is there any thought to giving 24/7 protection to some of the people who've been targeted more than once?
The decisions about allocating police resources lie with the task force and senior leadership there. My expectation and the expectations of all British Columbians, that it's not different from those who are leading and running the task force, is that people have to be safe. I understand that they're using a variety of tactics to ensure that that's the case. And I encourage them to share what they can with the community about steps they can take to ensure that people who are being targeted are safe.
Thank you. We'll head to the next question here on site.
Hi, Premier. Brianne Foley, CTV News.
Hello.
Just a question in regards to building two schools at once. Is that something that the rest of BC can look forward to going forward in the future, seeing multiple buildings to help alleviate the amount of students that we are seeing throughout the province?
Thanks, Brianna. Yeah, so there's obviously been a huge growth in population in the province and centers across the province. Langley Township here is an epicenter of growth, without question. And the need for families to be able to access the neighborhood school, the one that's closest to their home, is crucially important. We have space for kids, but sometimes families have to travel a considerable distance to be able to access that school. So we've been working with school boards. Minister Ma and her team in the Ministry of Infrastructure have taken over responsibility for school construction. And through that Ministry of Infrastructure, we've been encouraging school boards to do things like prefabricated additions that can be built in half the time and at a significant reduction in the cost, to look at the possibility of multiple school sites and find other efficiencies like doing 2 or 3 sites at the same time instead of just one. When we're engaging, we're trying to be as creative as possible. And I want to thank Langley Township for their partnership and their willingness to engage in that creativity with us to get this site done and look at other sites as well. It's hard to stand in front of a site with 2,800 student spaces and say more schools are needed, but that's absolutely the case here in Langley Township and in New West, where I announced another school this morning.
And then just a follow up on that, obviously portables are a temporary solution, right? But having kids learn in a portable isn't necessarily conducive to their utmost learning. So going forward with the sustainable structures and whatnot, is there any relief for that in areas like Surrey or Metro Vancouver?
Yeah, it's an astonishing thing, but having funded and being in the process of delivering almost 50,000 additional student spaces, to know that we still have portables in the province and that we still need to do more is really illustrates the scope of the population growth challenge that we face, that we're working with local governments on. a portable is not the appropriate location for a kid to learn. We need kids to be in properly built, climate-controlled, modern schools and seismically safe in every corner of the province. And that is our goal, and that's the work that we're going to continue to do through Minister Beare's ministry and through Minister Ma's ministry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to head to the phone lines, and we're going to start with Richard Zussman from Global News. Go ahead, Richard.
Premier, thanks for taking my question. The province's consultation on the Heritage Act ends tomorrow. There has been concern already expressed by organizations like the UBCM. They're concerned about how your government is thinking about the definition of heritage and are thankful for the consultation, but are still deeply worried about some of the things that have been indicated in the past around changes you'd like to make to legislation. What do you say to some of the concerns being raised around the limitations being proposed in the Heritage Act and the impact it could have on building things like schools and other community infrastructure projects and housing across Metro Vancouver and across the province?
Yeah, thanks, Richard. We do have a serious issue with the Heritage Act in the province as it stands. Union of BC municipalities, home builders, regional districts, cities have asked us to reform this law to make sure that it's responsive to the realities of needing to build. But also, we've been asked by First Nations to address challenges with the law in terms of concerns that it's not protecting what it should. And so currently, nobody is happy with the current situation. We extended the engagement process to allow for more voices to be heard about this. We know it's an incredibly important issue for people across the province for many different reasons. The status quo cannot persist. We cannot have a situation where we can't issue permits for building the kind of province that we need, whether it's a school or a hospital or a major infrastructure project or something that's going to lift up the prosperity of all Canadians, as we heard from the Prime Minister today. But at the same time, we need to recognize there's incredible heritage in this province. The history of this place is remarkable and needs to be protected as well. So one of the things that I really appreciate is UBCM has put forward some very helpful and constructive suggestions to us. Those will be taken very seriously by government. We've had suggestions from other key stakeholders as well. If it doesn't work for municipalities, regional districts, and others, then it doesn't work. We need this to work because we have to build our province. It also has to work for First Nations and to ensure that we're protecting our heritage for future generations. And we can get there. We will get there because we have to. We got to build. And we're doing that here today, and we're going to keep doing it.
Do you have a follow-up for the Premier, sir?
I do, and for old time's sake, I'm going to ask two totally unrelated questions in one. The first is your comment on the announcement made by the Prime Minister today. 2 projects in BC on the major projects list. Still unclear exactly what the federal government will do in terms of financial support for these projects. We've also heard First Nations have gone to terrorists to oppose, especially the Lisims project and concerns around that. So your thoughts on that. I also want to ask you about a recent lawsuit settlement over where overdose prevention sites can be located. The suit says that government health authorities in cities must take reasonable measures to act as good neighbors in their community before these sites go up. Do you think this will change the way that it takes to get sites approved? And why did it take a lawsuit to make sure the good neighbor standards were in place?
Yeah, thanks, Richard. I'm going to miss those 2 in one questions. Just kidding. First of all, let me take on the Prime Minister's announcement. I think all British Columbians should be proud of the role that our province is playing in the national agenda that we have as Canadians to build our economy so we can stand on our own 2 feet, more independent from the United States. Now, with today's announcement, we see almost half of the projects across the country that the Prime Minister has identified as major projects are BC projects. This is not a surprise to me, nor is it a surprise to many British Columbians. British Columbia is going to be the economic engine of this new economy that we're building going forward, and it is great to see some recognition from Ottawa that this is going to be the case. We are the province that is bringing forward these projects that will make a meaningful difference in the Canadian GDP, that will make a meaningful difference in families being able to access high-paid jobs and will lift the prosperity of people, not just in this province, but right across the country. These are really significant and important projects. And the best thing about these projects is that we are doing them consistent with the values of Canadians. We talk about the North Coast Transmission Line. This is about using clean electricity to drive economic growth. When you talk about the critical minerals and conservation corridor, this is protecting wild spaces, working with First Nations, and $50 billion in mine construction in the Northwest alone. The Lisims LNG project is an Indigenous-led LNG project that's going to lift whole communities out of poverty and create opportunities that haven't been seen for a treaty nation, for Nisga'a First Nation, as well as neighboring First Nations, but also the region as well. So these are really exciting and important projects for the Canadian economy and for British Columbians, and I am very proud to see that we're as we should be, leading the way and showing the way forward for the Canadian economy. And I am counting on the federal government to be a strong partner for us in actually delivering these projects and recognizing that British Columbia is going to do more than our part to drive the Canadian economy forward. On the second question, it's hard for me to imagine a world in which there wouldn't be an expectation of any operating nonprofit or business to be a good neighbor to other people. It doesn't matter if it's a business or, as in this case of this lawsuit, a safe injection site, a housing site, a shelter. The expectations are the same. The expectations are not always met. And we're doing some work with nonprofits to ensure that as part of our agreements with them, there is a consistent good neighbor standard across the province that everybody understands and adheres to in order for communities to support these often controversial projects where we provide support to people instead of them living in encampments in city parks or on street corners or in the doorways of businesses. We need to have community support for them to be able to go ahead. And part of that means being a good neighbor. So absolutely, we'll have a look at this lawsuit that's been filed. We'll see what issues can be addressed with that particular community member that's brought that forward. But just to be clear, the provincial expectation is, and we will continue to take steps to ensure that these facilities operate to their best capacity possible. There's another component, obviously. We've got people who are seriously mentally ill, brain injured, and addicted in our communities that are using community services. That probably, and we believe, need more intensive care. That's why we're building hundreds of spaces of additional support for people with intensive medical care, both inside hospitals, inside prisons, and in the community in every corner of the province to make sure that we're able to deliver care to people who aren't able to ask for that care themselves, but who clearly need it. Because when we have a level of care that's lower than involuntary care for some of these folks, the disruption and the challenges that they can create in community can compromise community support for the whole project, and also their needs aren't met either. So by delivering care to people who either can't or won't ask for that care themselves, but who need it, by ensuring good neighbor standards, by ensuring that we're delivering services for people who are really struggling, we believe that we can ensure safe communities across the province where people feel comfortable in their downtown cores, but also where people who are really struggling get the care that they need.
Thanks, Richard. Next, we'll head to Alec Lazenby from the Vancouver Sun. Go ahead, Alec.
Premier, I just wanted to ask you about Prime Minister Carney's announcement today, and if you could shed some more light on exactly what having these projects, the North Coast Transmission Line and the Lisims LNG project, having them be referred to the Major Projects Office does. The Prime Minister got asked about this and didn't give a super clear answer about what exactly it will do, but what's your understanding of how having them referred will help these projects, given they already have most of their approvals in place?
Yeah, thanks, Alec. These projects are really significant. The three projects that were named specifically by the Prime Minister, two of them are closely connected, involve they're projects that stretch over a significant portion of the province. So they involve a number of communities. They involve a number of First Nations. They bring a complexity with that as a result, where there's often federal jurisdiction that's very helpful to us to resolve longstanding issues, to win support for the project, or to help do things faster. Whether it's working with a First Nation on a longstanding issue related to land or some other problem like that, whether it's financing, enabling a local community or others to participate in terms of equity. These can all be ways in which we partner with the federal government moving forward. We also need to make sure that BC taxpayers who pay taxes provincially and they pay taxes federally see some of those federal tax dollars coming back to our province, reinvesting in our province so that we can continue to support other provinces in Canada. I'll be blunt. British Columbians do not see equalization money like Quebec, which got $13 billion this year, or Manitoba that got $5 billion, or Ontario that got $1 billion. We don't get that money. And because we don't get that money, we need federal attention to recognize that they need provinces to support the other provinces. BC will be one of those provinces. We will support the rest of Canada. We're happy to do it, but we need to see some of that support come back and be reinvested so that we're able to create that prosperity for the rest of the country. That's our message to Ottawa. That's what we're keen to do, but we're going to need to see that partnership as well. These projects are on the major projects list because we will be that economic engine that Ottawa is looking for, that delivers consistent with the values of Canadians, but we're going to need to see some of that support coming back. I'm really glad to see them on the list and looking forward to the partnership we're going to enjoy together on these.
And Alec, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, but I'm just asking in regards to these specific projects, what the federal government, referring them to the major projects office will do, because with Lisims, it seems that it's waiting on a final investment decision, but it's got most of the provincial and federal approvals. With the North Coast transmission line, it's already being exempted from environmental assessment, bill going through the House on First Nations equity. Like, what exactly is the federal piece of this puzzle to make sure that these projects get over the line?
Sure, Alec. It's support with First Nations that may not be project proponents, but are affected by the projects and may have issues that federal government can help us resolve. It's money. North Coast transmission line costs billions of dollars, but generates tens of billions of dollars for the federal economy and thousands of jobs, 10,000 jobs we've identified directly that will be taken up by people from across the country, as we see in other major projects. And so even just on those two things, there's huge federal support. But there's also opportunity. The federal government engages with countries around the world and in diversifying our market to be able to access goods. One of the aspects of the critical conservation corridor is a port in Stewart. This port will become the way that the minerals from the Northwest reach global markets. So in terms of establishing partnerships with people who are going to buy those metals and minerals from us, the port infrastructure that's needed, all of these pieces, there's lots of ways that we can work together with the federal government. The most important thing about putting these projects on these lists is that it sends a signal to the federal bureaucracy. This is a priority. You need to work with British Columbia on these things. It sends a signal to the people who are making decisions about where to allocate the money in the federal budget that these are key priorities. Money should be allocated to these projects. And so what we expect to see flow from this is a real leveling up of our partnership and the availability of the federal public servants, the federal dollars, the federal support to drive these things through to final investment decision, construction, and completion.
Thanks, Alec. Next, we're going to head to Wolfgang Deppner from the Canadian Press.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my question. Premier, I want to focus just a little bit. Convention coming up this particular weekend. You probably have a figure in your mind, but what sort of a figure would you like to sort of receive at your leadership review? Last time out, 93.1%. Can you sort of give us a figure this time around? Thank you.
Thanks, Wolf. Yeah, there's a couple of kinds of accountability and interaction I have with delegates at the upcoming convention. One is I get to meet face to face with the people who really drive the NDP in every corner of the province. It's a chance for me to engage with them about what their ideas are, what their suggestions are, what their critiques are. It's the NDP after all. People always have ways that we can do better to serve their communities, and that's what makes me so enthusiastic about being a member of this party. So I'll be engaging one-on-one. There'll also be a leadership review. I don't have a number in mind. Obviously, I want a healthy majority. Obviously, I want 100%. But a healthy majority and support for the hard work going ahead. It's going to be a great chance to engage with members. It's going to be, if you're a policy nerd, man, it is the place to be, because we are going to get into the weeds about how to serve British Columbians better and have real debates and discussions about it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing the delegates there.
Thanks, Wolf. Do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I do. Back to the major projects. If I heard the announcement of the Prime Minister correctly, the North Coast Transmission Line is getting a $150 million loan. Can you reconcile amount relative to the estimated cost of around $6 billion? So 150 million for $6 billion doesn't sound like a whole lot. And if this project is so important, why is the federal government not showing more of its support by putting some real money behind it? Thank you.
Wolf, what a great question, and I delight in it. Your impatience with the federal government's funding matches my own. The project has been on the federal government's major project list for about 20 minutes, and I am deeply disappointed they have not fully funded it already. Look, we're going to do some important work with the federal government. No question, there is going to be financial asks from British Columbia for these major projects. BC taxpayers cannot single-handedly fund the prosperity of the entire nation. We would love to. If we could, we can't. We're also federal taxpayers here, and we need to see some of that money coming back into British Columbia. I'm all for Ontario getting $2 billion for a nuclear reactor. Go for it, Ontario. But if you want to fund the $2 billion to be able to give it to Ontario, you've got to fund British Columbia. We're going to generate the private capital, the private investment that's going to create 10,000 jobs just in the Northwest, and that's going to pay for those projects in other provinces. And so we're going to be making very explicit asks for financial support for these projects. We look forward to getting a good hearing from the federal government that understands the importance of these projects. And I will give the Prime Minister 48 hours before the very strongly worded letters go out.
Next, we'll head to Yasmin Gania from CBC News. Go ahead, Yasmin.
Hi, Premier. This is Yasmin Gania with CBC News. Back to the major projects office. So now there are 4 BC projects that have been added to this list. Are you worried that Prime Minister Mark Carney is giving BC these projects to lessen the blow if you were to ever approve a pipeline that Alberta's Premier Danielle Smith is pushing for?
Thanks. I mean, I guess it depends on how you count them. I count 3 projects on today's list that were identified by the Prime Minister. You can combine them into 2 of them into one project, I guess. But I'm looking at almost half of the projects on the federal government's major projects list being from British Columbia. I think British Columbians can be proud that we're bringing forward the opportunities to grow our federal economy, to create prosperity in every corner of this amazing country, and to help us move forward into independence from being completely within the grips of the United States and the whims of one person in the White House. This is a really positive piece of news for British Columbia, but it means the federal government needs to look west more than just for these projects, also for the support that we're going to need to be able to deliver them. And I look forward to having those conversations with the Prime Minister. It is no surprise to me that there is no heavy oil pipeline on this list, because there is no route, there is no proponent, there is no project. It is a figment of a communication person's mind in Alberta, and it has no connection to real investment in our country or in our province. If it goes ahead, it will only be because it is fully funded by taxpayers to the tune of $40 to $50 billion. And we already have a publicly owned pipeline that is not operating at capacity and could take on significant additional capacity. I remain frustrated that this appears to be an ongoing issue for Premier Smith. We've got so many things to work on together that could make a meaningful difference for her province and ours, whether it's around electricity rates in Alberta, whether it's around access to Tidewater for key products, whether it's around just working closely together as each other's major trading partners in Canada. So the door remains open, but let's be honest with ourselves, that pipeline is not happening, and that's why it's not on the list.
And do you have a follow-up, Yasmin?
Yes, thank you. Specifically on the Lisims LNG project, when Carney was asked about the opposition to it by some Indigenous groups, he said that at the end of the day, it's not Ottawa that decides where projects go, it's the parties that decide. But how, from your perspective, how do you think this project can go ahead when it's facing so much opposition from some Indigenous groups as well as environmental groups and to legal challenges?
You know, this is a remarkable and amazing country and province that we live in. It's got a diversity of viewpoints, and we all commit to working together to try to lift each other up and finding a path forward. There will be lots of discussions about the Lisims LNG project, about lots of other projects. But what is not debatable is if we don't build a project like Lisims LNG, that Donald Trump will build an LNG plant in Alaska that will not have any of the Indigenous participation, any of the economic benefits for British Columbia or Canada, any of the environmental standards, including a 50% reduction in methane leakage because of our regulations, any of the contributions towards low carbon technologies and opportunities here in the province, and will not help us deepen our relationship with trading partners like Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, and others. This is an incredibly sensitive time for the country. It's a crucial time. It's a time of hard decisions and good debates. We're going to have those discussions and debates as Canadians. But at the end of the day, we do have to make hard decisions. And one of them is around what are we going to support? And so for this Lisims LNG project here, you have an Indigenous community, some of the lowest carbon LNG in the world that will be deepening our relationships with countries that have to buy that LNG from somewhere and want to buy it from us preferentially. And it's going to create economic opportunity for people in our province moving forward. So we'll engage in those conversations. The Metkatla and the Gitniao are two of the nations that have identified concerns. We'll work with them and find a path forward. We have before and we can again. I believe that British Columbians of good faith, of all backgrounds, can come together and find a path forward, and that's what we're going to do.
Thank you very much, Premier, and thank you everyone for joining us here today. That concludes today's event. For the media on the line, the Premier will be up again tomorrow morning in Victoria, so stay tuned for that. And thank you, everyone. We're going to take a group picture now.
Great. Thanks, everybody.